G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. Oh, wow.
I don't think I've seen a situation like this since...
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
That was one of the most infamous moments in entertainment history, and I feel like what just happened right now is going to be etched significantly higher than that. While Kanye West just acted like Kanye West and interrupted a really great moment for Taylor Swift, in this instance we have one of the most iconic actors in entertainment history getting on stage in the middle of one of the most glorified award ceremonies in the world and punching the freaking host. So before we get to the backstory, I recently began uploading to this channel once again to celebrate and to kick things off with a little boost. We're giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get to this video.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated.
This joke starts off fairly innocently by Chris Rock.
Now, if she loses, he can't win.
It's a harmless my wife joke.
He's praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord.
So this next line is what Will Smith is really pissed off about. Pay attention to what Chris Rock says here.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
So for those of you guys that might be confused about what the big deal about this joke is, Jada Pinkett Smith has a disease called alopecia, which literally translates into baldness. Now, I'm assuming if you're a woman at Jada Pinkett Smith's age, being bald could be very humiliating. So I can understand why she would feel sensitive about this situation. For people to joke about this with her, or maybe it's just something she's really sensitive about. But what's interesting is, at the very beginning, Will Smith seems to be laughing. So this is where I have two opinions on this. Either Will Smith initially thought this was actually funny, judging based off of his natural first reaction being laughter, or you could say this was forced laughter just so he is being polite towards Chris Rock. Like, if you pay attention to the audience's laughter, it's not that type of boisterous laughter where they're jumping out of their seats and they can't control themselves. It sounds a little bit like it's forced laughter, and just judging based off of some people around Will Smith and their reactions, it doesn't seem like anyone thought that joke was that funny. It could have just been a situation where they were all laughing just to be polite. I think the issues arose when he noticed that Jada Pinkett Smith didn't think this was a funny joke at all whatsoever. I mean, if you look at her, she is full on rolling her eyes and isn't holding anything back to really show her disgust at the joke that was made. While this is happening, Chris Rock is kind of doubling down on this joke.
That was a nice one, okay.
And I don't know if Will Smith already had decided to get up and hit Chris Rock at that moment, or if it was the fact that Chris Rock decided to double down on the joke that made Will Smith want to punch him in the face. But what happens next is absolute insanity.
I'm out here. Richard.
You can kind of tell Chris Rock makes eye contact and he kind of sees Will Smith coming and is like, oh, holy shit, what am I supposed to do now?
Richard. Oh, wow.
Now, a lot of people are saying on social media that this was a slap, but if you just hear the power in the microphone, that doesn't sound like a slap. I know there's pictures online with Will Smith having an open hand at the end of the hit. Now, this is where I start to kind of think that Will Smith is a little nuts because, and bear in mind, I love Will Smith, grew up on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, love his comedy, grew up, like, this man was a huge part of my childhood. I'm just trying to be unbiased here. But Will Smith then yells at Chris Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth.
Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
ウィル・スミスにやられました。
Wow, dude. It was a G.I. Jane joke.
G.I. ジェーンのジョークだったんです。
I'm going to, okay?
Now, I personally think it's incredibly admirable to stick up for your wife, especially in situations where she is suffering extreme embarrassment. But in this instance, although I do agree that the joke wasn't necessarily the greatest joke and it was made in bad taste, there's been bad jokes said about celebrities in award ceremonies repeatedly throughout history. And the fact that Will Smith was laughing at the joke and went from laughing at the joke to
G.I. ジェーンのジョークだったんです。
I just think that's a kind of a wide spectrum, man. That's all I'm trying to say. He didn't seem to be that upset about it the first time around. I mean, you could make a legitimate argument that, hey, he doubled down on the joke the second time around. He didn't just try to transition into a new joke. I guess you can make that argument. How do you go from smiling and laughing at a joke to hitting the host and yelling at him while millions of people are watching? And here's the thing, it wasn't a light hit either. Chris Rock actually fumbled his words when he was trying to continue on with the award ceremony.
Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television.
テレビ史上最高の場面でしょうか。
So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out.
Now here's the craziest part about this. Immediately after, Will Smith would win his first ever Oscar. And like, he's tearing up. It's truly a career achievement. It's just the entire series of these events is absolute lunacy to me. I just feel like this wasn't something that he felt deep down inside that he wanted to do. He initially thought that the joke was funny. To go from thinking that the joke was funny to hitting the host in the middle of the Oscars just seems like a little bit of a gap, if you know what I mean. But I would at the same time not fault people that would say it was warranted. Because Chris Rock made a terrible joke, some people just can't take terrible jokes well, especially if it's pertaining to sensitive information about their loved ones. And this is the result that came out of it. What's interesting is there's this footage of Will Smith being comforted by Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry. And if you take a look at Will here, it seems like he's wiping tears off of his eyes. Needless to say, we could all agree this is absolute lunacy, but there's two things that you could debate in the comment section down below. One, was it a punch or a slap? After doing some further reviewing, I'm starting to lean more towards slap, and the swing that Will took was a little bit interesting. He probably learned that during one of his acting roles, is what my assumption would be.
あら、どうなんでしょうか。
Oh, wow!
And two, whether or not you felt like Chris Rock deserved it. Do you think it was an overreaction by Will Smith, or do you think the reaction was warranted based off of the shitty joke that Chris Rock made? Aside from that, it was a pleasure breaking this down for you guys. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications if you want to enter for a chance to win $500. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next up.